Hey, what's up? This your boy Big Man. You already know what it is, man. So let's get right to it. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about this Oblock situation, man, with Muwop and the rest of these cats who got arrested for the alleged shooting of FBG Duck. Now, for those of you who haven't been keeping track lately or don't know what I'm talking about, man, this is probably the biggest case in hip-hop right now. Essentially, law enforcement believes that they have the suspects apprehended that took FBG Duck's life. FBG Duck being a Chicago drill legend that lost his life last summer, right? And his shooting death was pretty much a tragedy for Chicago hip-hop scene and for hip-hop as a total, man. Well, things are starting to pan out in this story. Now, as the story has continued to develop, we've learned a lot of information that we didn't know before. Now, yesterday we got a taste of what we heard from a news report from the Chicago Tribune where they told us that Muwop and two other cats went before the judge, right? Now, as they were going before the judge, they talked about the fact that, you know, they were employed at these random places that nobody would associate with some gangster rappers, right? But it looked like one person was left off, and that was a guy by the name of Tacarlos offered to be exact, right? He was going to be in court today. Now, the Chicago Tribune has an in-court reporter, and he posted some tweets about what was going on in court today, and it doesn't look good for anybody on their team if any of this information pans out, because it seems like they got a vehicle, they've got plate numbers, they've got video, and a lot of other evidence. But before we get to the specifics, do me a favor. Make sure you hit that like button, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and man, let's get it. Okay, now that we got that out of the way, man, let's talk about this whole situation with Oblock and how they got wrapped up in this whole case or trapped up in this situation, man. And as the details come out, you're going to be wild. Like I said, there's a Chicago Tribune reporter, right? And this dude is doing a good job of just updating everybody of what's going on in court. And today we had Tacarlos offered in court. Now, he goes by the name of Los, and he's allegedly a member of Oblock. Now, this is the first thing that the court reporter said today, man. He made his first update, I want to say like an hour ago, and it says this. It says, just in, reputed Chicago gang member Tacarlos offered purchased a car used in the August 4th, 2020 murder of Chicago rapper FBG Duck, just a week before the shooting. Prosecutors say in a detention hearing today. So basically, the prosecutors put it out there that they believe that Tacarlos offered, aka Los, purchased the car only a week before the August 4th, 2020 shooting of FBG Duck. So just a week prior to the shooting that went down, they're saying the car that he purchased was actually used in the shooting. I don't know who would do that. This just doesn't make sense because for what it's worth, and I hate to give credit to bad behavior, you know what I mean? Because none of this is good, you know what I mean? And I want to make sure I drive home that point. But a lot of the things that they do, you know, as far as like the Chicago cats or whatever, and a lot of the documentaries and a lot of the stuff that you could really fact check, it seems like it's pretty calculated. You know, from the outside looking in, it always looked like Chicago was a whole bunch of wildness or whatever. But for the most part, a lot of the things that take place are calculated, man. There's a lot of risk, anticipation, you know, it's almost like playing chess, a chess game, you know what I mean? So for somebody who's supposed to be a reputed gang member to go to a car lot and purchase a car and then use that car allegedly in said drive-by shooting, or not even a drive-by shooting, said shooting, man, that says a lot, man. That says a lot. I mean, that says a lot about his decision-making if this was true, but man, that's really taking a jab at how well he can put things together, if you feel me. Now, what the reporter did was he replied to all of this, you know, with updates. In the next update, he said this. He said, Alfred was seen in photos standing next to the car at a dealership on July 28th, prosecutors say. He returned the car shortly after FBG Duck's murder, after the dealership found he lied about his employment in the financing application. So, okay, man, I don't know, man. This is tough. If that's their case, if that's what they got, I don't know. That's pretty flimsy. And you're going to hear from what his attorney said. But basically, they're saying that dude filled out the financing information and all that, and then went and used that same car in a calculated hit. I don't know, man. That doesn't add up. But maybe so. Maybe so. I mean, Not to say that these cats are above any mistakes, or, you know, even if this was true, that they wouldn't make that type of mistake. But man, that just, I mean, that would pretty much seal your fate, you would think. Now, in the next update, the court reporter says this. It says, prosecutors say CPD, pod cameras, plate readers, and other surveillance show the car offered purchase traveling to the Gold Coast on the afternoon of the murder, then leaving the scene. FBG Duck was fired at least 38 times while standing in a line outside a store, feds say. So basically they're saying they have CPD pod cameras that and plate readers that saw that car going into that area of the Gold Coast around the time of the shooting. So I mean, that says a lot, man. That says a lot. That's a lot of evidence if it pans out to be true. I mean, I don't know if any of that is true. And just because they say it doesn't make it true. And they could be just trying to scare him into saying too much. I don't know, man. Either way, if that pans out to be true, and to be real, a prosecutor can't lie. So if they say they have that, they have that. You know, they have that type of information. I mean, and that basically will seal the fate there if you could place him in that vehicle, if he was the person who was in that vehicle. But man, let's continue. Now, the next update says this. It says, Alfred's attorney says buying a car is not proof of involvement in any shooting. What did he do, in quotations? He could have been miles away with no participation in or knowledge of the offense, in quotes. That's what his attorney said. Alfred has made no admissions of being involved in FBG Duck's killing. So basically they're saying that Lowe said, through his attorney that, he had nothing to do with this. And just because his car, he was seen buying a car, doesn't mean that he was in that car. He had anything to do with the car going to the Gold Coast that day. I mean, there's so many different variables there. And to be honest, unless they could prove that he was in that car, they might have, I don't know. I'm not the judge and I'm not the jury in this situation, but it seems like his lawyer is going to work for that money that they pay him. You know what I mean? But I don't know, man. The next update, though, that he made was the U.S. Magistrate Judge David Wiseman has ordered Alfred held without bond. So that's the same thing that happened to everybody else. The same thing that happened to Muwop. The same thing that happened to Thang. The same thing that happened to everybody else involved in the case, man. It looks like they're all going to be held without bond. And, man, we really going to see if pressure busts pipes in this situation, because this is looking ugly, especially if all that information is true, man. If all that pans out that they have the car going to the Gold Coast that day and they have pictures of Los buying the car, I mean, that's pretty much the smoking gun. Well, nah, man, it's not, but it's close to it, right? I don't know, man. This is crazy, and some of these updates are interesting to say the least. I know this guy, Jason Meisner, I want to say his name is working overtime to provide these details for the Chicago Tribune, but it's keeping the streets fed as well. And I just wonder what everybody else's opinion on this situation is, man, because it seems like in each development, the story for these cats from Oblock is getting worse and worse, and it doesn't look like they're going to be seeing the light of day anytime soon. Now, with that, this has been your boy, Big Man. Hold up. What do you guys think about this situation? Do you think that all that information from the updates within court, from the court reporter, we could say it's alleged, but he has no reason to lie, and it's his job. But do you think that really means that these cats are guilty and that all that pans out, all that evidence points them to the shooters of FBG Duck? Or is it possible to buy a car, knowing it's in your name, giving it to somebody else, and it be used for something that had nothing to do with you? You know what I mean? Now, with that, this has been your boy, Big Man. Do me a favor. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And make sure you hit that notification bell so that way you get a notification every time I drop this hot content. And we out of here. Peace.